All right, everybody, welcome into a special edition of the Auburn Live Show. Appreciate you joining us. I am Justin Hokanson from auburnlive.com. With me, special guest who's been with us multiple times before, Brett Whiteside from On to Victory, the Auburn NIL Collective. Brett, what's happening, man?
Hey, how are you, War Eagle? Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Interesting time. Interesting time we got going on here with NIL. First, I guess, how are things in general? How is On to Victory rolling along? I guess you're now, gosh, are you what are you, 3 years into this?
Going on year 3.
Yeah.
So On to Victory started in June-ish of 22. And so we've completed 2 full years. During that span of time, we've completed NIL deals with over 430 athletes from 20 sports at Auburn. We'll hit our final 21st sport this spring. Excited about that. And so, yeah, things are going really well. We're supporting at a really high level. We're thankful to those who are participating with us. There's obviously a continued need in this space. Sustainability can only come with a lot of folks participating. I think we've seen over time people are getting more and more comfortable with the concept of name, image, and likeness being really important as far as supporting our student athletes in a new, unique way. The Auburn family has been so supportive, we know, over the years of our student athletes by helping provide them with great facilities, great coaches, great education. And now this is just a new way to help our student athletes earn income through their name, image, and likeness. And so people are starting to get more and more comfortable with it. It is certainly an educational process for people to get familiar with it. But we have roughly 3,400 people who are actively participating with us. Now, on one side, that's a great level of support, and it's absolutely making a positive impact on Auburn. But again, when you step back and think about the 250,000 living alumni and the over 1 million Auburn fans across the country, then we certainly have a little work to do there to continue to grow it. We're in a time period when we cannot expect a handful of people to fund this. It's just not going to go that way. You hear other coaches and athletic directors all over the country, regardless of what state they're in, saying the same things, that if we're really going to be able to make a strong impact, it's going to take a lot of people getting involved.
Yeah, and look, I've said it, you've said it, and we'll continue to say it. It honestly doesn't matter what you think about NIL. If you've got the opportunity to be involved, you need to be involved if you want Auburn to be competitive. If you don't have the opportunity to be involved, we totally understand. I mean, it's a financial, commitment the same way anything else is. But if you've got an opportunity to be involved, and the only thing is holding you up is, I don't, know about this, new sort of age of players getting money. If that's holding you up, you're just gonna have to kind of get over it, like, because that's where we're at. And so if you want Auburn to be competitive, you gotta just sort of look at it as help these coaches out. And we hear stories, and there's tons of these players are doing really cool things with their money and some of these resources. They're learning a lot. Like I think these guys are smarter than ever, and not just about their money, but just in life. And I think they're learning a lot. So get involved for sure. One of the main reasons I wanted you to have you on was to talk about a campaign you guys are doing, a drive to $1 million before December 20th. I've seen a bunch of social media posts from Auburn and student athletes really trying to get it going. Tell me about sort of what the goal is before December 20th, what you're trying to do, and how huge it would be if you can get this thing done.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a similar campaign last year. It was wildly successful. It was a great way for people to really see that their gift could be maximized. And similarly, another donor stepped up, and someone who has already committed, large 7-figure gifts, and just said, hey, I want to continue to support, but we need more people involved. So what I'll be willing to do is put up some money that can be matched if we can have other people jump in. And so, we're encouraging folks, if you've not yet joined, you've not yet participated, to help us with that. It's a dollar for dollar match. So even if you're already a member, if you're a member at $17 and you want to go to $34, great, because we're now going to get a match on the difference between those. If you're a member and you want to become an annual member, do that, because that actually allows us to do a 3-to-1 match, right? So if you're coming in at for easy math, $100 a month, we're now going to get credit for 3 times that if you're able to do that all at one time as an annual gift. And so we're asking people to get involved at any level that they can. And if you're already a member, if you'll consider becoming an annual member or moving to another tier, again, that would be beneficial to us. The future is going to look a lot different, but we know we're going to be around at least for the next 12 months. And we know that NIL is never going to go away. It will never go away. Our athletes will always now be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. Potentially it comes through revenue sharing. Potentially it comes from them, from the universities funding this moving forward. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we know that there's always going to be this need. Other schools in the SEC are already talking about how they're going to require this moving forward. That's not been anything that's been discussed here yet, but it's going that direction. And so this is the way right now currently that the fans can help support our athletes in the one area that the university currently cannot support our programs in. And that the universities cannot currently fund name, image, and likeness until some rules changes or laws are created. So this truly is, unfortunately, a space that is required if you're going to compete, that we're having all of our Auburn family involved in.
What do you make about the sort of big picture state of NIL? I guess we all figure at some point there will be revenue sharing where they're just getting a cut of I guess whatever flows through the athletic department. I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs. I have other things to worry about, but that's the way it's going in general. I guess what's sort of your take maybe on how far we might be away from that? It's hard to say. And, how you sort of see that playing out and On to Victory's role in sort of future and all that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the number one thing that everyone is currently getting comfortable with is just the concept of our athletes being able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. It is in a direct result with their athletic performance on the field. Right? I think we're all generally becoming to get more comfortable and familiar with the fact that these athletes are creating this fame through their participation in the sports here at Auburn, and obviously nationwide. They're competing for their institutions. And so I think the next logical step is to now allow the institutions to be a part of that funding mechanism. And so that's coming in the very near future. There's already some schools that are being allowed to do that through certain state laws. And that's coming down the road very quickly all across the country. I think that the court case that's going on in the House versus NCAA is really the spark that's really going to kind of force this, whether it settles or whether it goes to trial, whatever it is. I do see that this is coming in some form or fashion, that the universities are going to be able to start being more participative in it. But then the question therein lies, are you going to be able to create this cap? I hear people all the time, we should cap how much a player can get. We should cap how much we can spend. Well, that's against the law currently. And so until we get to the point to where that can be permissible, it truly is a free market to allow the student athletes to have unlimited earning potential. So I think really just to answer your question, we're in a time of uncertainty. It's going to go in possibly a lot of different directions, but all we can do is focus on the present. And the present is On to Victory is very involved. On to Victory has contracts that are running out for the next year plus. We're in a position to where we need to honor these contracts, these agreements with the athletes that we've made. And, regardless of what the sport is, right? Most of all of our Olympic sports are on academic year contracts. They go through August, they run through July. Most of our football contracts are on more of a calendar year where they start in roughly January and they end in roughly December, January. And so coming up here very soon, we'll be offloading the current team and onboarding a new team, and continuing to hold on to those players that have another year of eligibility. So we're in a very crucial time period. That's why December 20th is the date that we chose, because we're going into a time period where it's important to have the funding available for this next group in football. It's important to have the funding available throughout the spring for all of our Olympic sports who are going to be re-signed on contracts coming up this summer. So really important, crucial time for Auburn and really all institutions out there.
Football recruiting is going extremely well. Obviously, On to Victory plays a big part in that. I guess, how have you seen the support for that grow? How has it been? Watching the success of what's happening with football recruiting specifically, and maybe how these kids are seeing opportunities at Auburn despite sort of trying to work through the on the field progress, trying to get that going. It's a grind right now and trying to get that wheel going. But how have you seen sort of the recruiting success, and what do you
Yeah,
think about that?
absolutely. I mean, I think first thing, Coach Freeze and his staff are just doing a phenomenal job in recruiting, right? And in his introductory press conference, he talked about the fact that he and his staff needed to be able to come in and build relationships with these families and these young men, during their sophomore, junior, senior years. And that's exactly what we're seeing happen. Right? These are guys that they've not been recruiting for 3 weeks like it was when he was first hired. These are guys that they've had an opportunity to form relationships with, that they're able to sell them on the vision of Auburn. And Auburn sells itself. I've been on the staff, and when you bring people in, you can tell if they're going to fit. And if they're a fit, they love this place. And the key is getting them on campus multiple times. And I think our coaching staff has done a phenomenal job of getting these kids on campus. When you incorporate name, image, and likeness into this, we're able to support at a very high level. Now, we're great stewards of the resources we have. We're going to be very mindful of our resources, how we can allocate, how it's best going to support this team, both the current and the future roster. And so, I think our staff does a really good job with that. Prior to February of this year, the collective and its employees could have no involvement whatsoever in the recruitment process, could not even talk to them about the types of services we provide, and could not do that until they were actually signed. I think people began to recognize that we were doing a disservice to the people in the recruiting process not to have those conversations a little bit earlier. So starting in February of this year, Jason Campbell got really, really involved in being able to talk to the young men and their families about the opportunities through On to Victory. And again, all of our credit goes to our coaching staff in the way that they're relentless recruiters, but credit also goes to Jason Campbell and On to Victory in the way that we're able to talk about how we're structured as an NIL collective. I think people are aware of who On to Victory is. We have 7 great board members who are all Auburn men, who are making sure that we're doing this thing the right way, that we're supporting at the highest level possible, that we're operating with transparency and compliance. I mean, heck, I've got the compliance director on speed dial. So we're doing things the right way. And so then Jason can sit down with these families and these young men and just talk about how, sure, here's the financial opportunities that you would have here, but here's also the plethora of services that we're providing that maybe not all the other collectives are providing. Such as helping you with your tax remittance, making sure that you're doing things the right way. Because as a reminder, these are independent contractors. You're getting a 1099. There's no taxes being withheld from a paycheck. And so if they're not planning wisely throughout the year, come April 15th, they're going to have a real problem. And so that's something that we've taken on to be able to help them navigate that. Similarly in their financial planning world, right? We have Ronnie Brown, who's a great resource. He's done multiple sessions with our athletes. I think the athletics department does a phenomenal job in the education of the young men and women who are navigating this for the first time. They're the Auburn U program. They do a great job with that. And so I think it's important for someone from the collective to sit down and talk about these resources, the way that we work, what we're asking them to do, how we understand the time demands of a student athlete. But at the end of the day, this is being compensated for the services they provide. It's not just pay for play, or it's not pay for play at all. So I think that it's been great to get us to have these conversations with the athletes. And again, a last plug for our coaching staff, and this goes for all of our coaches. I love the fact that the first thing they're looking for is the right Auburn man or woman, that they're a right fit for this place. They fit the culture. They fit the core values that each of our programs have. And so the first thing is to make sure that they're a fit for this place, and then we can have NIL conversations. You don't have NIL conversations before you understand if you're a great fit for this place. And so I've appreciated our coaching staff going about recruiting that way. And I think all of our fans can too. We don't just want to sign players who are looking for the greatest payday. We want people who want to be here, they want to stay here, they want to graduate, they want to get a great job, they want to be a part of the Auburn family forever.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think, and from what I've seen, that's it's pretty important to certainly Hugh Freeze. I think he's very much on the side of if the first thing you ask about is NIL, that's not going to be a great way to start off with him. And look, it might lose him a recruit, but he wants guys that want to be here. And yes, NIL is part of it. And I think Bruce Pearl's the same way. I think these coaches are going to be weary, but certainly the guys at Auburn want guys that want to be there. In addition to obviously, and I was a part of it, but if that's the first thing you ask about, both these coaches are going to sort of be hesitant. I mentioned
I
Bruce.
think too, to that
Yeah, go ahead.
point, every sport's going to be a little bit different,
Yep.
right? In basketball, we're going to lose 10 seniors, right? Perhaps we sign 3 or 4 high school kids. 6 are going to come from Portland.
Yeah.
So we have to balance that a little bit. Football is a whole nother animal. Right?
Yeah.
You got 85, maybe up to 105 scholarships. You have 45 some odd players that play in any one game typically. And so you can go about that a lot differently than perhaps you can in the sport of basketball or any of our other sports. So I think we have to evaluate that on a sport by sport basis. But to your point, yeah, I think all of our coaches they have a great strategy and plan about how NIL complements the program. And it's not that, NIL is the program, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a key distinction.
I've seen Bruce Pearl out there publicly now quite a bit lately talking about NIL and the importance of it. I heard him on the pregame show before Oklahoma. I saw him do the video on social 3 or 4 weeks ago talking about the importance of it. We talked to him at the golf tournament, the Barkley and Bruce golf tournament, and he talked about it again. Obviously, they're going to be going through a big rebuild after this year. In the health of On to Victory and the health of the collective is going to be a huge part of helping him rebuild a roster. Probably, I mean, you're talking about maybe 9 to 10 new guys, 6 could be portal guys, and obviously a high school, but big rebuild. What's the importance?
Yeah.
What you've probably had conversations, but how big is it to? And I've talked to him. Like Auburn's doing okay, but like they do need to do a little bit better. Just in general of support, they're battling some big dogs in the SEC when it comes to basketball right now and collective. There's a lot of commitments being made. How important is it for people to donate and even earmark a little bit for basketball? But how important it is to kind of keep that basketball collective rolling, especially when Bruce is heading into this rebuild?
Yeah, that's a great point. Talking about earmarking. So the way that On to Victory was established is, hey, we're going to allow the fan base and the donors to earmark to choose whichever sports they would want to support. And so in every way that people can give to On to Victory, there's a checkbox for a sport or sports that they would like to support. And so, to that point, people that have an affinity for our men's basketball program or any of our programs can absolutely allocate their gifts to those sports of choice. Basketball is going to be really it's going to be a sport that's going to have a lot of needs next year. We recognize that. Just to kind of give everybody kind of the lay of the land over the last couple of years. I mean, I think Coach Pearl has just done a phenomenal job with building this program with players who really want to play for him and they want to be at Auburn, they want to stay here. And I think that we probably have a roster that has a chance to be highly competitive. We from last year to this year, our NIL support more than doubled from last year to this year. And as you're looking to replace 10 seniors, it could double again, right? So that's just kind of how this market is continuing to grow. And there's nothing that anyone can do about that, right? The market is the market. And until there's more guardrails and parameters around it, then I think we truly just have to operate in what it is. And so we have a decision to make as far as, okay, we're either going to grow with this market or the market's going to leave us. And I think that's obviously where Coach Pearl probably feels we're at right now, that come April, May, when the tournament's over and guys begin to decide if they're going to stay, guys are making their decisions now of where they're going to sign. I think their signing period's coming up here in a few weeks. And so, they're all in the process of who are they going to sign and high school, and then once that portal opens, around the tournament, then who are they going to go after, and what resources are there here that can be provided?
And then we even saw, and I don't even know the specifics of this, so you can kind of clarify. One of the when we talked to Barkley before the golf tournament, he said he just made, I don't know if did any of it. He said he donated a lot of money to women's basketball specifically. Was that through the collective, or is that a completely separate thing where he just donates straight to the university and it goes there? But either way, like he's supporting women's basketball, and I know you've seen like people's earmarking money for women's golf or women's basketball or men's golf, or like there's been people that donate to their specific sports that are helping. There's a bunch of other sports doing some great things at Auburn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our mission here is to enable all the Auburn family to support all of our student athletes in whatever way they want to. So the fact that we've had 20 sports have athletes, it's because there were at least 20 gifts made to those individual sports. That's how it works. The gifts made to that sport, and it's allocated over. But I can't speak specifically to what Charles is doing with his giving, but anyone can support any sport that they would like. Sure, women's basketball has needs right now. Softball has needs right now. Women's tennis has needs right now. Baseball has needs. Everyone has needs. It's coming up in every one of our programs. There is not a program on this campus right now who's saying we don't need any NIL support. It has become part of every program on campus.
Yeah. All right. What's the easiest way for people to go sign up and donate if they haven't?
Yeah, if you want to keep on track of where we're at with this match campaign, go to owntovictory.co.co. It's a landing page specific to this match campaign. You can track our progress, and then our primary website owntovictory.com is still available there. A lot of ways to get involved, right? War Eagle Plus is a great new benefit. They're putting out phenomenal content, exclusive behind the scenes with all of our programs. So On to Victory members get War Eagle Plus as part of their package. You can only get War Eagle Plus through the bundle if you would like. But the way to make the greatest impact is to become a member. The website talks about all the perks and benefits that come along with it, but everyone understands the number one perk and benefit is knowing that you're making an impact on these sports programs, both on the field, on the court, as well as in the recruitment process. So ontovictory.co, ontovictory.com. Jump on. If you have any questions, we respond to every email we receive, and you can email us at info@ontovictory.com as well.
Awesome. Well, I encourage everybody to go be a part of it. It's really, really important. If you're watching this and you're an Auburn fan, it's really, really important, even if it's just a little bit. If everybody gave just a little bit, it would make a big, big, big difference. So I would encourage everybody to go be a part of that. Great people at On to Victory, trying to do some good things for Auburn student athletes. All right, Brett, appreciate it, man. Hope you feel better.
Good seeing you, Justin. Yeah, thank you. I'm a little under the weather here, but didn't want to miss this opportunity. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Go to auburnlive.com and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.